I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Yes, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Treasurer Anderson. Present. Trustee Campbell.
Present.
Trustee Clee.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Trustee Fabdall.
Present.
And Tripoli Clerk, yes, present. Barb's here too.
Barb, Trustee Burt.
Trustee Vert? I'm here. Okay. I had you marked already here, honey.
Oh, sorry.
You were early.
You were early.
I was early. In the beige coat.
So, do we have any deletions or additions to the agenda?
There may be an addition after the closed session.
Okay.
I would like to make a deletion, and that would be action item G. That is because what I have in my packet is incomplete, and I do not have any legal opinions whatsoever. There's no quotes, costs, or whatever, and I wasn't this wasn't mentioned to me until I got this, so I would like to have that removed right now.
Is that your motion?
It is.
Is there a second to the motion?
I would Clea would second that to move to discussion on it.
Alrighty, is there any discussion? Barb, did you have anything else to say on that?
No, it's just very, very incomplete.
I have a discussion. I want to amend the resolution to remove at this time the piece on the trackers, but that we move forward with just having all of our vehicles marked.
So,
We have a motion on the floor.
we have a motion on the floor. Are you willing to amend the motion?
We still don't have a cost or anything.
So Treasurer Anderson is asking to amend the resolution by
I'm
removing a
going to
portion?
have to say no because that's also incomplete. I don't know. It has to do with the policy up in here, which hasn't been reviewed by council either, and I don't know the cost, so I can't.
Did you have anything to say on that, Tom? You seconded the motion.
Right. Well, the one thing I was just going to say is I would have agreed to that with further discussion. I'm sorry, with further discussion from council and to not exceed $1,000 or $500 to letter the vehicles. But
We can bring back the cost, but the concept that it be required to have all of our vehicles marked Flint Township, so that when we're out in the community, when we're rolling up, doing code inspections and all of the things that they do, that we have, it's a practice. We just stopped the practice for some reason, but you notice all of our
we've got
cars, the code enforcement cars they're all marked, and we would like all of the police cars are marked, all of the fire trucks are marked with Flint Township. We're just asking that every vehicle that the township owns be marked.
Are you finished, Tom?
I would agree. I would okay to remove the tracker piece because the cost, we're not anywhere near what that would be. I've done a little research on that, a tiny bit in a day or two, but my gut feeling has always been that every vehicle that we drive, whether it be one of the vans, whether it be one of the older police vehicles that our people use, they should at least say Flint property or Flint Township property, the Flint Township community, something like that, so that when they do pull up in front of any of our residents' homes, they know who's getting out of that car.
Okay, so you're willing to do that. The maker of the motion's not willing, and
Because I agree with the,
The concept.
yes, I do, but it's still, the policy has to be rewritten then, and it hasn't been
Reviewed.
correct, so.
Good point.
So no,
We have a
so
motion. Are
we can
you
bring
this-
it back another time, but right now, I'm not going to change it.
are you making the second or not?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? No?
I think we should mark the cars as well.
I don't think there's a disagreement with that. I think it's updating the policy issue, and we can always bring it back to our next meeting. So there's a motion to take action item G off the agenda with no further discussion. All those in favor of doing so signify by saying aye.
Can we have a roll call?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Trustee Campbell?
No.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
trustee Favdal,
No.
trustee Vert. Yes. Supervisor, Treasurer Anderson,
No.
and clerk Triplett, no.
So that's going to stay on the agenda. So we have something else to add, and that would be, we were given the letter of understanding that we discussed during our,
Here,
oh,
he's raising his hand.
Could you turn the mic up? We can't hear a word.
sure, I was looking away. 1 second.
Or get closer to your mic.
Yes, I hear you.
Still had a question about that. Never mind, I can't ask him.
It'll come up with the,
Is that better? Alrighty, so we were given a letter of understanding that we discussed at our staff meeting, and everybody has a copy of that. I'd like to add that as agenda item, what would that be? No, H.
I.
Can we,
Wouldn't it go before?
we could, or Treasurer Anderson saying that there might be something that comes after, so that would be I, is that correct? You mentioned you might add
Yes.
something. I, do you want to? And you're saying that would be as a result of the closed session?
yes.
Okay, so this would be J, or we could move J up before we go into closed session, doesn't matter to me. So it would be to approve the letter of understanding with COAM.
We should just move it up.
Okay, so it would be, let's say it's G1, how's that sound? G1, letter of understanding with COAM, okay? Does everyone have that, letter of understanding from COAM? G1, yeah,
G1,
G1,
thank you.
bingo. So we have our agenda, is that it, to the additions and deletions to the agenda? Alrighty, so we'll go to correct the minutes from the regular meeting of October 3rd. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Anyone?
So I looked everything really good. I don't think I missed anything.
Okay, if there's no corrections, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the regular meeting from October 3rd, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those are approved. We'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and give us your name. We don't need your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Everyone, sorry about that bad hair day. But for the record, I'm Ann Christensen. I was here October 3rd for the party. But I think I'm mostly directing this to Chief of Police. But I'm speaking for the third time about my house and our neighborhood being targeted. There is a serious issue over there. Now it's to the point where I'm arguing with 911. That baffles me. That's a crime in itself. I'm not calling 911 for some bicycle going down my road too loud, okay? This is a serious problem. I don't know what I have to do to make that clear. I understand there's something going on about Whitmer changed some rules and things can't get done the way they used to. I understand, but there should be some tickets being written. These people are terrorizing this neighborhood and it should not be happening. My young son over there is witnessing this day in and day out, and it's been 2 years. There's no excuse. There is just, I don't understand it. I am at my wit's end. I'm not talking to my neighbors. You don't want to go outside. I have a man that's 2 doors down from me that threatened me. One night I came home after a baseball game. Excuse me for a second. I came home after a baseball game. And my neighbor threatened me. My son was my witness. He walked to the end of my driveway and threatened me. You'll be sorry. Because I commented that they do them hole shots in front of my house. So I walked down there after work one night and I said, do you mind? Really? So this has turned into a thing. Okay? I've explained it and explained it. I called Karen on September 29th. She couldn't help me much. There's not much she can do, but I wanted her to know. I want her to be aware. I want you all to be aware that nothing is being done. These guys are all criminals. They don't have plates. They're just being jerks. And you can't rest. And I just need it to be said. I have this article. This was from July 7th, you guys. I was here in July. I really wanted to read it. It's from Sheriff. He says, Operation kicked off 6 p.m. Friday, July 1st. Stats provided by Swanson Wednesday and Customs shifts Friday through Monday. It's important that people have a police presence, Swanson said. We make sure that we cross each neighborhood so they see marked cars driving multiple times during the shift. That's not happening. That is not happening. You see one in a month, and that's because they get called over there. It's a shame. And if they have my number, Chief, if you need it. You can
Thank
call
you.
me.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
My name is Brian Hughes. I live at 1137 South Dyer Road. I want to talk about code enforcement. I know you've had this topic come up the last few meetings, and I don't know exactly where you stand on it. But in my view, I would like to see not just a part-time, but a full-time code enforcement person, and not just react to people coming in and making complaints, but also patrolling around the Flint Township to visually see different violations being occurred. I have a neighbor that has 2 junk cars that's been in his yard for 6 months. Now there's another one up the road from me that has a junk car backed up to the front of their house. And I don't want to be the one coming up here to complain about them, but if we had a code enforcement that would just patrol around, I'm 100% in favor of you guys putting one on. I encourage that you guys do that. And I also want to talk about the ditch along Dyer Road between Court and Calkins Road on the west side of Dyer Road that had been cut recently. It should have been cut a long time ago. However, now that it's cut, we have a bunch of trash that's remaining there. We got tires, we got bottles, we got paper bags, we got fast food containers. I'm not sure if the township's gonna have somebody go up and clean them up, or if it's up to the residents that live in that subdivision on that side of the road. Obviously, I live on the east side of the road, so I'm looking at it every day. I'm retired. I can take the time myself and with trash bags and pick it all up, but I don't want all the trash sitting in front of my house. I just like to see that cleaned up, and I'm glad that you were able to cut down the trees and the weeds that were growing quite high there. So that's all I ask. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? You ready?
My name is Gerald Roberts, 4487 Lundywood Drive, Swartz Creek, Michigan. I think everybody sat in there might have had a job at one point in time, and their boss had to call them in and explain to them certain things that were expected on the job. What I'm going to say right now is going to concern a lot of you people up there. People of this township elected you to represent them. They expect you to be at the meetings. Unless it's a dire emergency, a death in the family, or something really dire. Sickness, yes. But you need to keep in mind that every one of you people sitting there on this particular day, which is 2 meetings a month, 12 times a year, that you're expected to be there. Also, you people that are on your jobs, you're expected to work 4-day work week or whatever you got here for your hours. You're expected to be there. You're expected to work. You got vacations, you got other things coming in. For you people sitting on this board, your trustees, it's not a time to plan your vacation and miss one of these nights, because your vote could be very, very important. Your vote could be very, very important, and that's why we elected you to be here, to be there at this point in time. Okay? I'm kind of like your boss, giving you a little set down, stating that what we expect out here if we're electing you in that particular position. Vacations, schedule your vacations around these dates. Don't take your vacation during the time that these meetings are set up. Going to switch gears right now. You got a proposal, Proposal 3. Means the murdering of unborn fetuses up to 1 minute prior to their birth. And in this particular thing, it says individual rights. This means children's too. You can have your child come in and get a sterilization, get a sex change without your the parent's permission. People in this particular position, you can have an abortion without going to a doctor. And those people are not going to be held liable. It's going to invalidate state laws across the board with regard to changing this in the Constitution. If your vote is yes, and it goes back to the Bible, hurt one of these little ones, and it'll be worse than having a rope tied around your neck and a millstone tied to you and thrown to the bottom of the sea. You people, if you vote for these people that are voted, in other words, to put these particular legislations in, you're as guilty as they are. And there's going to be a judgment day. And on that judgment day, are you going to say, hey, I didn't really know what it was all about. I voted yes, but I'm not voting yes. We're going to fight like heaven, not fight like hell, like your good governor is doing. We do not need to put this thing through. It's written by the devil.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No? One last time, anybody else want to address the board? Alrighty, we'll move on to reports. Just a couple things. I know the issue of the ditch on Dyer Road came up, and so traditionally, that does belong to the neighbors, who, many of them have fences that separate their backyards and the ditch property. But I have contacted the Genesee County Road Commission, Swartz Creek Garage. They've mowed it once or twice a year for us. So they're the ones who have mowed it. We don't mow that. It's not our property. But it is a road ditch, so they were willing to do that. Although I don't know that they're obligated to do it, and I don't believe that they're gonna send anybody to pick up the trash. When we have people pick up trash, we either organize groups of volunteers to pick up trash, I've contacted the sheriff's department for the juvenile work detail to do that, but since COVID, they have not been allowed out of jail to go and do that. I mean, it's a possibility. I can give them a call, but yeah, I know the road commission's not going to do it, and we don't pay to have that particular ditch done because technically it is part of the property of the people who are on the west side of the road. But I will contact the sheriff's department. And I know Tracy, in the past, we've gotten volunteer groups organized to do different areas of trash cleanup. We can look at that. I don't know that it would happen this fall with the weather change, but we can look at doing it, especially in April with Earth Day. We've done that before. So those are some options. I received a letter in the mail from a resident who lives on Lennon Road, and she addressed it to me and the Township Board of Trustees, so I'm going to read it. It's regarding Printcom. Dear Mrs. Miller, I'm writing in regards to the problem all of us along Lennon Road were having with Printcom's vacuum equipment's excessive noise level. My neighbors and I have sent a letter to Stuart, copied you, the board, on May 7th, 2022, and attended a few board meetings afterwards. I apologize for the delay in writing this letter, but I would appreciate it if you would publicly thank Stuart Worthing at your next board meeting for completely resolving this problem and doing such a good job working with us. We are all very grateful to him. Sincerely, Elizabeth Heppenstall. Thank you, Stuart, for your good work. So that's all I have in my report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, as of today, we've sent out 4,800 ballots. We've received a little over 1,100 back from absentee ballots. The clerk's office is working really hard. We're down a few employees, but they do work diligently in getting the job done, so I appreciate that. That's it.
Madam Treasurer, do you have a report this evening?
I'll just go ahead and report on the 2022 third quarterly investment report, which is in your packets. All of the changes are highlighted in yellow. We did have the one account that we closed. It was a coronavirus grant, and we have used all of those funds for that, so we have closed out that account. Other than that, there's no changes, and we would ask that this would be submitted in the minutes for review by the auditors.
Thank you. Are there any trustee reports this evening?
Nope.
Tom? No?
I'm good. Thank you.
This way?
Just a reminder that our trunk or treat is October the 30th. That's right around the corner. That's from 3 to 6 on Sunday, 10:30. And it's at Shea Chevrolet. We're expecting a good turnout, so if you know of any children, grandchildren that would like to come, just invite them, because we expect a really good turnout again this year.
Trustee Vert? No? Trustee Campbell, you sent an email. Did you want to say anything to the trustees about, is there a meeting tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah, for the trustees, the chief of police, fire chief, if they want to go, and
Is it here or over there?
here
Here? At what time?
at 3:30. And the new director of the Red Cross wants to join us and talk about how she can partner with the township.
Alrighty, thank you very much. We move to staff reports. Chief Salter, do you have a report?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Since your last board meeting, or our last board meeting, your police department has responded to over 1,200 calls, which is about over a 90 per day average. Included in them calls are 36 unknown troubles, 60 disorderlies, 99 domestics, 5 person with a guns, and 4 shots fired. In addition to the 1,200 calls that we've taken the last 2 weeks, we made 148 traffic stops, 86 business checks, and 58 residence checks. This week, your PD is participating in Operation Safe Stop, work with the school regarding bus stops and stuff like, or all the bus stops. Work with other police departments in the state to work on that. It's a zero tolerance, just to enforce that anywhere in the township of Flint, if you see a bus stop with its red lights flashing, you gotta stop. Only spot you don't have to stop is on the highway, which of course the buses don't stop on the highway, but like Corona Road, Linden Road, you have to stop for a bus with its red lights on going both ways.
Both ways.
So, and I have one item for the agenda.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, we responded to 32 incidents. Included in that 32 incidents, on the 9th, we responded to a mutual aid call for Mount Morris Township. They had a house fire off of Pasadena that we assisted them on. On the 13th, we responded to a personal injury accident with entrapment near Dyer and Calkins. Luckily, there was no injuries in that incident, but we did have to assist the occupant of that vehicle out. And over the last week, we've completed several fire prevention and educational sessions between schools, businesses, things like that for Fire Prevention Week. There will be some more scheduled in the coming weeks as well to try to get into all of the elementaries and things like that in the township to get that educational message out. And as a reminder, like I've been saying, almost every board meeting now, the fire department still has smoke and carbon monoxide detectors available, free of cost. We come out, we install them. Really important now that we're starting to bundle up for winter. Our windows are closed, the heat's on, so really want to make sure that those CO alarms and those smoke detectors are working. So if you have any questions, give us a call, 810-732-4413, and we have 2 action items on the agenda tonight.
Thank you. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
Just a couple of things. Peckham had a meet and greet. Supervisor Miller and I attended. They are probably going to do a presentation next month. They want to work with some of the schools and possibly the police to do a couple projects. So they should be getting with us in the next 2 weeks or so, and hopefully we'll have something at the next meeting. Bishop International Airport, I don't know if all of you heard the good news, but they are going to do an air show again next year, so that's wonderful to see that that's back. I think Trustee Fapdahl mentioned our Trunks and Treats is coming up. We also have the PrintCom project, I believe went to Planning Commission and was approved, so that's moving forward. The IFT paperwork for them and for John P. O'Sullivan is all at the Treasury now. And did you mention the meeting for the Election Commission? Okay, we did have an Election Commission meeting prior to this meeting, and the election inspectors were approved. The public accuracy testing was set for November 1st at 10 a.m. And they did vote to purchase some banners, new precinct banners that will be reimbursed through the state election safety grants. So, and they also were able to review the grant so far. We have about $10,000 that we had to spend on election equipment this year. It was equipment we needed, whether we had a grant or not, but we will be able to get reimbursed for that. It was about $10,000. So that was, that's where we're at with that right now, and that'll go to the state. We should be seeing those funds in the next month. I think that's it.
You guys met before this meeting?
At 5:30. They had a 5:30 meeting.
What did we purchase for 10,000?
There were rolling ballot bags, there were storage ballot bags, seals for the bags, seals for the envelopes, the rolling storage bags for transferring stuff from the precincts here, things like that. It was mostly security items.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stuart, do you have a report for us this evening?
No report at this time.
Thank you. So we move on to, there's no committee reports. Madam Treasurer, you have the quarterly report already done. Did you want to pay the bills?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve payment of invoices in the amount of $89,028.32 and to acknowledge disbursements in the amount of $3,773.33 for a grand total of $92,801.65.
Is there a second to the motion?
Cleve would support that.
Any questions for Madam Treasurer?
I do have a question. Lisa, at the last meeting, Tom asked you to explain about the invoices and the disbursements, and you had mentioned that you have 10 days to pay those out. What happens if that doesn't happen in 10 days?
It gets paid out when it gets paid out.
Is there a
Sometimes
penalty or
it's-
anything, or?
It's not a penalty. I know it does affect when all of the entities receive their payments,
Okay, thanks.
but we're pretty good about getting those out. We sent one out today for it's October 17th, and it's due October 25th.
I was gonna comment on it, Barb jumped on me. And for those of you that were here last meeting versus this meeting, and you listened to the amounts, we're in between a pay cycle and a non-pay cycle is what, in essence, right? The tax and dollars being transferred, as we talked about, millions of dollars you guys are hearing about going from one side to the other. Oh my gosh, we're in a dire situation, but yet we're paying out millions of dollars. Here's a much lower number than we had 2 meetings ago, and it's not a transfer of the tax dollars to the other entities.
The $3,773 is transferring.
Right, but it's not multi-million dollars as it was 2 meetings ago, yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Correct.
So people can look at that and go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to pay the invoices in the amount of $89,028.32 and acknowledging disbursements in the amount of $3,773.33 for a total of $92,801.65.
Okay, trustee Clee,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
Yes.
trustee Fabdahl,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes.
So correspondence, is there any correspondence or informational items this evening, Madam Clerk?
No.
Besides the letter I read? So we move on to new business. Action item A is to set the public hearing for the 2023 Budget Appropriations Act resolution. Would someone like to make that motion?
Clee would move that we accept the resolution,
To set the public hearing,
set the
sorry.
public hearing, and accept the resolution for the 2023 Budget Appropriations Act for December 5th, 2022 at 6 PM, this
There-
17th day of October.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions or anything? So we'll have the public hearing on the 5th, right? Did you have
That's our
something?
next meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not our
No,
next
won't
meeting.
be the
We have
next
one
meeting.
meeting in November.
We have only one meeting in
21st.
November
Because of elections.
because of elections, so it's a month from now.
Okay. I know we talked about those in staff meeting. I was trying to I didn't remember December 5th being that date.
I expect that the draft of the budget will come to this board at our November meeting. Did you say the 17th or 21st?
21st.
21st, yeah. So,
Oh, that's what it is.
we're gonna pass out a draft and allow the trustees to review the budget. And if you would, like to have a a workshop on that, we can do that. If you'd like to ask questions of department heads or the controller, you have time to do that. But
Well, can I add, though, we're planning to have the controller here on the 21st
for presentation,
for a
yes.
presentation about the budget, because as
Was it
we
the
all know,
21st or
we're
5th?
under. Sorry?
Was that the 20? Yeah, he's coming in the next meeting, right?
The next meeting. Our controller will be here to kind of summarize and go over the budget, which I think we're in a very, I'm really pleased about the budget. This is the first time, I think, in quite a while that we are really making some strides. Many of you may know that the township is under a corrective action plan because we've adopted a deficit budget for at least 3 years in a row, and I think more than that, and the state said no more. So we're really working really hard to try and flip this thing over and get this thing lined up so that we have an adopted budget. So we're really pleased with the direction in which we're moving. We've worked really hard, had budget meetings with the staff, and so it would be a good presentation, I think, if you kind of hear where we are. We're not at a zero budget, we don't have it balanced yet, but it's very close, and so we're really excited about that, so please come out.
So, all those in favor of setting the public hearing for the 2023 Budget Appropriations Act Resolution for December 5th, 2022 at 6 PM signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That sounds approved. Madam Clerk, action item B, Halloween hours. Is that yours or who is it?
I'm not sure.
I can read it
Hold
if
on,
I get
hold
to
on, let
it.
me go to it. Here we are.
Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please accept the resolution as this motion to set the official Flint Township Office of official Halloween trick-or-treating hours as October 31st being the date from 5:30 PM to 8:30 PM.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
I have one question. I thought we did it a little bit earlier last year. I think I'd emailed everybody back to ask that question, but I don't know if we
I didn't see
had
that
went
email.
to 8 and still 8:30.
I didn't see your email, but
Yeah, we might have done 5 to 8.
5 to 8, you
Because
thought?
it's getting
Yeah, I
darker.
think
Yeah, I
we
think we
did do
thought about
5
that.
to
I mean,
8.
I think we changed that
Darkened.
in the meeting now that we said that, and this is, I would change I would amend my motion to read that the official Halloween hours, if acceptable, to be on October 31st from 5 PM to 8 PM here in Flint Township.
I
Stop
would
it,
second
Tracy.
that.
Is there any discussion on that? That was a good decision, because it appears that daylight savings,
School night, too.
yeah. Daylight savings time,
Yeah.
ends on November 6th, so.
Right.
Right, yep.
Anyhow, alrighty, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion, any further discussion? Can you do a roll call vote, please?
Sure.
5 to 8.
Wait, oh, yeah, well, the hours will be from 5:30
to-
to 8 PM.
5 to 8. Yep.
5 to 8
5
PM.
to 8, not
5 to-
8:30.
No, earlier and ended earlier.
Okay, there you go. All right, Supervisor Miller,
No. No.
Trustee Fabdo,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt,
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
Trustee Clay.
With a comment? With a comment or no?
You want to say something?
Am I eligible? Am I out of line?
Well, say what you have to say.
Usually.
I usually am. This is true. No offense to the no vote from the supervisor, but she votes no on the Halloween trick or treating every year, and I don't argue with her point, but it's in neighborhoods where it's tight and we can get together, it's great, but on the big busy streets, I don't like to see the cars pull up and let out all the kids scatter in, so I know why you vote no. Totally. No offense. I'm supporting your, but I'm a
Alrighty,
yes.
so that passes. The hours will
Just wanted to clarify
trick or
that.
treat hours will be set for October 31st from 5:30 PM to 8 PM.
5
5
to
to
8.
5.
Did we change it to 5? Oh,
5
sorry,
to 8.
I didn't hear that. 5 to 8.
Yes, we did.
You're not going out.
If I had it my way, we wouldn't have it
Not
at all.
going out, so you're good.
So action item C is the Road Advisory Committee member appointment. You have that before you. The Road Advisory Committee met earlier today from 3:30 to 4:45. And we have 2 people who are interested in serving this committee. And I'm asking that the Township Board would approve the recommendation from the Road Advisory Committee for Colleen Ford to be a member and Mark Showalter to be an alternate.
Cleve would move to accept the recommendation of the Road Advisory Committee to appoint Colleen Ford, active member at this point, and Mr. Mark Showalter as the alternate. And of course, if anything occurs that there is a step down, Mark would immediately step into that spot.
Sure. Is there a second to the motion?
Anderson supports.
Any further questions?
Is there the term expiring date?
We do, and we'll have to look at
Yeah,
that.
I just,
It's typically the duration of the,
from whoever
Millage.
had it before.
yeah, so we have the,
The dates.
most people on the committee have served since 2006, since the beginning of the millage. But we've had some people turn over, and so, like Oscar Hare went to the Planning Commission. And so we filled one position with Bud, and then one position wasn't filled at all. So, and typically that term is going to end when the millage ends,
Okay, yep.
or when someone steps down and the position needs to be filled. So all those in favor of approving Colleen Ford and Mark Showalter to the Road Advisory Committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Action item D, Chief Salter.
Oh, yes, ma'am, thank you. In your packet is your FANG annual dues that I bring to the board every year. I'm asking the board to renew the dues this year. In addition to that, I'm asking the board to allow me to pay the dues every year unless it goes up by $5,000.
And it'll be in the budget that comes to us every year.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion to do so?
Cleve would move that we accept Chief Salter's recommendation to pay the dues for the FANG with allowing the dues to be paid yearly unless they increase by more than a $5,000 number.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any further questions or discussion?
Is that Carrie?
Yes.
It was Carol, wasn't it? Yeah.
And, Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Trustee Burt? Yes. Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdor?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Action item E, Chief Beckley.
Thank you. Extrication tools are a vital rescue tool that we use for entrapped occupants of vehicles, heavy machinery, or for other uses such as a forcible entry. Some of our fire department's still operating with some extrication tools that were purchased in the 1980s. We did purchase a new set of battery-powered Jaws of Life in 2019. And our firefighters have had great success with those tools. They've worked really, really well. And tonight I'd like to ask the board to approve purchasing another set of battery-powered extrication equipment, which will be a set of spreaders, cutters, and an AC/DC converter pack from Apollo Fire Equipment Company for a total of $24,500. These tools and batteries will be completely interchangeable with the set that we purchased in 2019, offering us even more interchangeability and operational ease. Due to the great success of these tools, we would like to add another set to our fleet. And funding for this purchase is in our 2022 fire equipment millage budget as well.
Clee would move that we accept Chief Beckley's recommendation to purchase the Hearst hydraulic spreader, cutter, and AC/DC converter pack from the Apollo Fire Equipment Company for a total of $24,500.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions for Chief Beckley? Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the purchase of the equipment in the amount of $24,500 from the fire equipment millage.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt? Yes. Trustee Favdor?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. So, action item F?
Yes, and again, after careful consideration and evaluation of our apparatus that we have today, I'd like to recommend that we send our 1996 KME fire engine and a 1990 Chevrolet van to auction. Engine 12 is outdated and at this time out of service. Over the past few months, it's developed several issues that would be very costly to our repair. And at this point, I feel that the cost that would have to be put into that truck to bring it up to where it needs to be would exceed what the value of that engine is. This truck was slated to be sent to auction when the new ladder truck arrived anyways. So we would just like to expedite that process at this time and get that one off of our books. Our 1990 Chevrolet van at this point is outdated and obsolete to our operation. So again, we'd like to see that go off to auction as well. So with your approval, I'd like to send these vehicles to auction as soon as possible to remove them from our fleet.
Thank you. Is there a motion to do so?
We would move to accept, again, Chief Beckley's recommendation to send the 1996 KME pumper and recognized and understood to be engine 12, as well as the 1990 Chevy van, the red Chevy van, to auction.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any discussion? Any questions for Chief Beckley? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Burt? Yes. Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Did I say that already?
Yes.
Sorry.
Everybody?
Trustee Burt. I didn't say Burt. Yeah, Trustee Burt. No, I think I answered. Okay.
I didn't.
I said no.
Carol.
Trustee Favdor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
All right, it's the
Action
cough
item-
medicine.
That's what it
It's
is.
the cough medicine.
G,
Mine and yours both.
did you want to talk about it?
I do. This is the resolution to require that we would update one of our policies, policy number 214, to require all of our township vehicles be marked in a manner that is visible to residents as well as, and I'm going to remove the piece on trackers. We're asking that the revision should include language, the revision to the policy would include language that the township vehicles must be left on the township premises at the end of each workday. The Personnel Committee, along with our legal counsel, will work on revising that particular policies and some other policies. This is time for, it's been, I think, since 2019, since we've had a review of our policies. It would be, I'm asking the board to please pull your policies and review them. Any changes or questions or anything that you have to those policies, please submit them to Supervisor Miller, and we will take a look at those in totality and update our manual. But the resolution, I make a motion that we require that all of the township vehicles be marked in a manner that is visible to residents, and that our vehicles, the township vehicles, must be left on the township premises at the end of each workday.
Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Is there any questions or discussion?
Yes, still, I wish that somebody had talked to me about this prior to this coming. I don't know if anybody else was privy to any conversations, I don't know. But again, you're asking for this to be done tonight, and it has not been reviewed by council, period.
No, the policy hasn't, but the concept that they be required to be marked, we can move forward with that.
Okay, so how is this gonna just, how are we gonna do with the employees who use their personal vehicles? Are we gonna have those marked also?
No, why would we have those marked?
Then maybe
Shouldn't be
all,
using-
then,
We shouldn't be using personal vehicles
For work?
so to make it fair for
Going off the
everybody,
code enforcement.
then maybe every employee that does township business outside of the building between working hours, they all should be driving a township vehicle, which means we'll need more vehicles, is that correct?
No. Right now, we have the code enforcement. You're trying to make this difficult, and that's okay. We have vehicles that are out on our lot right now that are not marked, and we're only asking that those vehicles that are code enforcement and our building officials and supervisor and those individuals that have vehicles that belong to the township, that those be marked. If
That
we want
includes
to visit,
assessment?
if we want to visit, yes, assessment as well. If it's a township vehicle that assessment is driving, yes, it will be marked.
Anything else?
No, I just think I wish the board could have discussed this at length before and with legal counsel, but I'm a no. I mean, they should have signs on them, I agree, but I think there's a lot more to this, so I'm a no.
Any discussion on this end?
I have something. Along the same lines, I agree, as I stated earlier, that I think all the vehicles that are being utilized during the township hours and work of the township hours are and should have the township name on them. Whether or not and in turn, the document that you're asking for, Madam Treasurer, is that you're asking for policy review. You are saying to change a policy here because you stated that, let me find it, hang on, just to be sure so that we're not having any issues. Employees and duties are subject to the vehicles are to be marked in a manner that's visible. All vehicles are required to have trackers. You eliminated that. And the marking of the vehicles to ensure level of insurance that township business is being conducted in an appropriate and professional manner, and the vehicles must be left on the township premise. The revision should include this language. I have no problem with that, but again, I think that's policy. I
The
think.
policy itself, it will. Tonight, we are.
But it states, what your statement says is the revision would include that. So that's changing, that is policy change. I don't think it hurts what Barb was asking, and I'm all for it. I'm gonna vote yes for the lettering of the vehicles, because I brought that up months ago. But
That's
now
why
that
it's here, right?
Yes, but now that I see that it says in revision in language, I agree, we need to have that reviewed, so there's no argument. I just think that's the smart thing to do. And if that's the case, we wait 1 week, we get the numbers.
Don't need to wait on marking the vehicles to get the policy corrected.
Well, then we eliminate, then the agenda item needs to be or, and the motion needs to be changed to just lettering of vehicles, because it states policy. You're saying, will include that the township premises they'll never leave the premises and be left here after work hours, so that's policy.
We're voting on it, and we can add that to the policy, that those vehicles,
But does that meet,
We
but
can
has that
change
been
it.
reviewed, has that been reviewed by our council? That's the question. Are we causing a problem without, are we putting the horse before the cart? Or cart before the horse, excuse me. Supposed to put the horse before the cart. I'm no argument of it. I'll vote yes on lettering the vehicles. I just think we should wait and make sure that Peter Goodstein or whomever it is takes a good look at everything. He check marks it and we get it right back to us. We talked about something several meetings ago. We talked about this last meeting, if I'm not mistaken, about the issues we're having across the board here, where some things are not being, maybe some things are not being handled and being done without a good look. And here's a way for us to, one little one, it's just a small one, but let's do it the right way right now and say, okay, I agree, I agree, letter the vehicles, but you're asking for policy change. Oh, yep, okay, we need to go back and have it reviewed
What-
before we push it.
can you tell me what the issue is?
I just said, you're stating that the revision would include, would include change to the policy of all vehicles must be left on premise at the end of the workday. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the policy reads right now about that one particular line, but it sounds to me like that's a policy.
Well, why would we take our vehicles home? People shouldn't be taking their vehicles home. They should be driving their own vehicles to the township,
don't
pick
argue
up a
that.
vehicle and drive it and bring it back.
But if that's policy.
we're saying.
I know, but if this is policy we're talking about, it needs to be reviewed. That's all.
There
That's
is a
all.
reason to drive
so
a
we will
vehicle
mark-
home.
What is it?
Chief Salter?
I'm not talking about the police department.
Well, can I finish?
Yes.
Chief Salter, do you drive a vehicle home?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And do the lieutenants?
Yes, they do.
And do the detectives?
The ones that are on call do.
And does the fire chief drive a vehicle home?
Yes, ma'am.
And does the assistant chief?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
For emergency response, off duty or after hours to respond in from home.
So nobody else drives a vehicle home except I do, and our building official does. Does the building official ever get called out on emergency calls?
He can show up in his own vehicle on a call. He doesn't have all the equipment that they have in their particular vehicles.
No, he won't.
So, has there been times that the building official has been called out to any of your calls, Chief Beckley?
Yeah, yes, there has. Our jobs kind of go hand in hand, and sometimes, and when there's damage to buildings, there are times where we reach out to him after hours, weekends, and yeah.
And he can drive, his vehicle is not equipped with the stuff that the other vehicles are equipped with.
Have you been in that vehicle?
I don't need to be in the vehicle.
So all I'm saying is there are aspects of this policy change that we should review better. I object to the fact that it says the Personnel Committee is requesting a revision. Did the Personnel Committee meet and discuss this?
You were not present, but yes.
You guys met a Personnel
We
Committee?
told you there was a personnel committee meeting, and you were not there, so yes.
When was this, please?
I don't know the date. I'd have to go back and check.
Yeah, because I wasn't made aware that you were going to be discussing this policy.
You were made aware there was a personnel committee meeting, and you
And
chose
if you
not
asked me to
come.
be there and I couldn't be there, you went ahead and did this behind my back without me knowing about it.
Talk about everything that's done when personnel committee meetings are held and not held.
We don't have very many Personnel Committee
We need
meetings.
them.
Then
Call
we
for
should
the
all be
question.
there.
Call
And you
for a
know,
question.
I'm not, wait, no, I'm
I'll
not
call
done.
for the question.
I'm not done talking. There's also times when the Personnel Committee in the past, and by past practice, has met with different agents, and yet two people of the Personnel Committee haven't shown up. We met with the auditors. I was the only one who showed up. We met with our liability insurance company. I was the only one who showed up. We met with our healthcare insurance coverage company. And I showed up, you forgot about it, showed up late, and you didn't show up.
I
So
was there. She was there.
she was not there. I got the booklet from them to give to
I
her.
was there.
You showed up late because you
10
said
minutes.
you forgot it. All I'm saying
10
is,
minutes.
you want to talk about the Personnel Committee meeting, it should be a set time when we meet, not when someone can't be there and you decide
We
policy.
can do that. We can do that.
Well, I'm not the only one asking for more information. Apparently trustee Vert is saying she wished she had more information too. There's been a lot of stuff that's been discussed with not the whole board knowing about it. And I object to that. And there's information in here that should be reviewed better. It should go to our labor attorney who's reviewed the policy and procedure manual. We haven't done that either. And I think we're rushing this. Is there emergency to do this? We can mark the cars without having a meeting about it, without having a policy about it. Most of the cars have been marked in the past. Not all of them have been marked in the past. That's just my input. I don't get it.
Thank you for your input. Barb, call for the question.
Is there any further discussion or questions?
Just to
Yes,
repeat.
my input is that I think we should mark the cars, and we probably should just review the policy, even though I do think that the township cars should remain on site. And,
As long as it's fair across the board, yes,
yeah.
for all employees. Yes.
Would that include police and fire? Is that what you're
That's all
saying?
employees. I'm just saying.
Then they
You
won't
have
be able to do their job.
I just
That's-
answered a question, that's it.
That's different.
That's where the policy needs to be looked at.
Then we'll do that.
I think there's other policies that need to be looked at
All of
also.
them. Let's
Yeah.
look at all of them.
I think a review of them need to be taken a look at.
Maybe
about-
this board should just get together and have a meeting without the audience. And we need to discuss some of these things that we having issues with.
It's against the law.
I think it would be.
Without
We
a-
can talk to
Hold on a
our
minute.
labor attorney.
Well, Barb is always concerned that she's not being, nobody's talked to her about different things. So I don't know how we would do that without
Let's
discussing.
vote on this and move on.
Did you have anything else to say?
Can you would you adjust that to be lettering only at this point in time? That way we can move forward
We
and
will,
get the
but
lettering.
we will, but the policy will be coming forward.
So that's what I'm saying, could you adjust your motion to be
It should be,
lettering
as
only?
long as it's a priority that
At
we
this
work on the
time?
policies.
Right.
Then let's
Not
do
gonna have this next year, we're still looking, not
let's do
touching
lettering only.
policies.
Let's do lettering only at this time.
But we will move forward at our next staff meeting with policy. That's my motion.
Can you repeat it, please?
I'd like to
Please.
make a motion that we require all township vehicles are marked, and that the policy will be reviewed starting at our next staff meeting.
Is there a second to the
With
motion?
policy review, how's that? All vehicles marked with policy review starting at our next staff meeting. That gives all of us a chance to look at the policy as, I forget who stated it, that we should all look at the policies and get it back to us, is what I had here in my notes. It said that we need to do policy updates, and all of us would have time to review policy and get comments made. So are you saying then we would letter only, at this point in time, just to be clear, letter only, requiring all vehicles to be marked, and but your second breath was, and policy will be looked at our next staff meeting. Do you want to put that in there, or do you want to
Yes,
just?
because I don't want that, I don't want it to be dropped.
Okay.
So the next staff meeting is going to be November 14th for our, it's a week before our November 21st meeting. Does everybody on the board have a copy of the policy and procedure manual? Well, make sure you have that so that you can have input also. We have a motion to letter the vehicles, the township vehicles, and start working on updating the policy, beginning with our next staff meeting, November 14th. Is that right?
Yes.
And who's second?
Who seconded that? Manya did? Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, can I interrupt real quick?
Yes.
Is that excluding police department? I know you said that right away, ma'am, but I want to make sure the motion says that though too, for the police
Excluding
department
police and
vehicles.
fire?
Excludes police and fire because of the.
Exclude, yes.
He just wants to verify.
Excludes.
Okay, that's why I make sure that was in the motion.
All righty, Madam Clerk, roll
Aren't
call,
they already
please.
marked?
No,
No, they're not.
You have a few unmarked cars.
the fire chief and the assistant chief are. The police chief, the 2 lieutenants, and detectives are not marked.
And that can be a small little something, so you're still,
What's not?
this-
Oh,
because of the,
I know some of the police are, yeah.
because of
Right,
their
police aren't.
Right.
respectful
Yes, yeah,
nature. So
yes.
we have to be careful of who they are and what they do.
Are we done? Yes? A roll call, please.
Trustee Favdor.
Yes.
Okay, Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt,
No.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
supervisor Miller?
No.
Okay.
Did you get everyone? Is that everyone? Okay, so we move on to action item G1, the letter of understanding with the Charter Township of Flint and the Flint Township Police Command Officers Association. You have this before you. It's to make sure that we changed the language in the contract to allow residency of up to 30 miles outside the border of the township. Is that correct?
Correct.
But the policy for driving a vehicle outside the township, for those who live outside the township and drive a vehicle, was 20 miles, and this is going to match them up to 30 miles. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
You have the letter of agreement in front of you, a letter of understanding, and a motion would be in order to approve it.
Clee would move we accept the letter of understanding that was presented to the board this evening between the Charter Township of Flint and the Flint Township Police Command Officers Association to update Article 14 to read 30 miles instead of 20.
Anderson supports.
Is there any questions or discussion for Chief Salter? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the letter of understanding signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes. We move on to action item H is to vote to go into closed session. A motion would be in order to do so, to discuss a written legal opinion with the labor attorney.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session to discover a written legal opinion with the labor attorney at 7:05.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor of doing so signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call
Oh,
No.
shit.
to go into closed
Yes,
session.
closed
Yes,
session,
it
roll
is.
call, sorry.
That's a good point. Has to be.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Pavlov?
Yes.
Did I get everyone?
I think so.
Okay.
So we're going to go into closed session, and at this time, we'd ask those in the audience to excuse themselves. And when we finish, we'll come back into closed session and finish the meeting open to the public.
Come back into open session.
You guys, you don't have to stick around. Okay. It's good. I don't know how long this is going to take.
Everybody else is gone.
Oh, everybody's gone?
They're on, Chair.
So we're back in open session.
Gotta reboot himself. Whoops, sorry.
So now we're back in open session, and we're going to move on to action item I, which was added but not spelled out on the agenda. Would you like to make a motion,
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize, let me read through, I guess, at the September 26, 2022 special board
Can you
meeting.
read into the microphone so they can hear it better? Thank you.
At the September 26, 2022 special board meeting, the trustees voted 4-3 to reverse the decision made at the September 19, 2022 regular board meeting to hire one full-time rental inspector. The township is under a corrective action plan with the state of Michigan for adopting a budget at least 3 years in a row, a deficit budget at least 3 years in a row. There was an oversight to post the September 26, 2022 special board meeting on the township website, which may have constituted a violation of the Open Meetings Act. This resolution is to confirm the motion taken at the September 26, 2022 special board meeting. A motion is in order to authorize the Board of Trustees to reverse the decision made at the September 26 A motion is in order to authorize the Board of Trustees to reverse the decision made at the September 19th, 2022 regular board meeting to hire one full-time rental inspector.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Is there any questions or discussion on the motion made? Any this way? Hello? Any this way?
Part-time.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, I know this is
Hold on
gonna,
one second.
I'm sorry.
I was working my way this way.
I'm sorry, okay, go ahead, go that way first.
No discussion or questions this way? Carol?
No.
Lisa? No. We can go this way, Carol? Deb?
We want to bring up the part-time part of the position.
Are you gonna bring that? Would you
Yes,
please
this does
discuss
not.
that?
Yes. This does not affect the part-time position or that this.
Does
code
this
enforcement
affirm, this
that we
affirms
have.
his part-time position is still in stay, correct?
It is still,
Okay.
yes.
So there's he's still a part-time employee with the township,
Yes.
working less than 29 and a half hours a week.
Less than,
30, yeah.
30.
29.9.
Is anything else down here?
not 29.
No? Tom, anything else?
No.
So, I'm not in favor of this motion. That's why I made the motion to hire a full-time person on September 19th. I know half the board is split. Majority feels we should go one way. I feel we should go another. We have 4,178 rental properties that are single-family homes. That doesn't include apartments. There's no way a part-time person's gonna get these rentals done, and I'm in favor of hiring a full-time person, maybe two, to be paid out of the fees collected for the rental inspections, just like the fire marshal will be paid out of, with the fees collected for the commercial rent inspections. So I'm not in support of this. Any further discussion? And
I am in support of it. I think we should hire two probably part-time people without benefits.
Yes.
And, but I do support the motion.
thank you. Any further discussion?
I feel the same way. I do think we definitely need rental inspectors. I'd like to see more part-time hired.
And I'd also like for us to sit down and look at what the rental inspection program can look like. There's training out there through this organization. In fact, I'd like to bring them to a board meeting to do a
I
presentation.
think Stuart has some ideas, and I'd like to reach out with Stuart to see what he thinks or what ideas he has for his department. So we can do that, but he should be involved.
Sounds like a good idea.
Sure, if he's at the meeting, he
Yeah.
would hear the presentation, right?
No,
Because I want to bring them to the meeting just so that they can talk about what their organization does, and it all is all around rental inspection, so. It's like a MEA and
I understand, but he has some ideas, and I think we should listen to those before it comes to the board and get it in place before doing so.
He can be part of that discussion with those people and you. Maybe, Lisa.
Well, I oversee that department, so it would include me.
Okay, I'm just saying, if she's gonna be there, then Stuart should be there, and so should the department, super department head, the head over the head.
Any further discussion? Any further questions?
I'm just gonna say too that, I'm aware of other people today that are out looking for jobs, and they do not want part-time jobs. They do not want part-time jobs. And I'm speaking from people personal to me, people that are not personal to me, that has been happening all last week. They're going to job to job to job, and what they're doing is they're trying to undercut employees. Like, we'll hire you, but we're only gonna give you 15 hours a week now. We're gonna get another person, we're gonna give them 17 hours. And this is really happening. You see hire everywhere. There's people that wanna work. The training that goes into rental inspections, this township can't afford the training. This has been talked about years before. A lot of these people came on this board. They have looked for companies. There's only one or two that I know of. And it's vital. It is vital to this community to move forward, to thrive, is to have those inspections done, have those homes taken care of, and call the landlords to task to make sure that people are safe in those homes.
Anything else this way?
I'm totally in agreement with the last statement she said, was the safety of our township residents is more important than 1, 2, or 12 part-time rental inspectors. If I couldn't live with something that I stated, I couldn't live with it if something happened drastic to one of our residents who was living in a rental home that had not been inspected and needed to be. So I'm totally behind the program.
I think we all feel the same way.
Exactly, we just have different ways of going about it.
But I don't understand why the boards saw the reason to hire a full-time fire marshal for 1,500 business inspections, and yet we don't see the need to hire full-time rental inspectors for over 5,000 rental inspections. It makes no sense to me.
That we want to find people that will do it through the township, not
Well, I
pay
agree
another
with, I agree with
company. Yeah.
that. We're at that point.
That's
But
what
now
this
we're-
is.
You're talking about 4 part-time. We hired 1 full-time fire marshal because we saw the need for that with 1,500 businesses that he'll inspect. We have over 5,000 rental inspections, and we're wanting to do this with a couple of part-time people. I don't understand the discrepancy.
Well, the 2 part-time people will equal the same amount of time that for that 1
So
full-time.
why
that
don't
you
we get a
hired.
couple part-time fire marshals for less inspections?
Right now, the fire marshal is hired under ARPA funds, and that's only for maybe 2 years, and then we might not have a fire marshal.
It
So
may just
we're-
get us up to date on,
Yeah, we're not sure where
And you
we're at
know,
on
because the
that.
person didn't come from outside.
And you know, Karen,
He
I understand
elevated.
your frustration because I feel the same way in the clerk's department, fighting. It's like the previous clerk did, just to hire a part-time person to help out.
Well,
And
there was
I
a-
see it every day, you know, when I see Redonna in there. I mean, we've got over 30-something thousand residents. That's kind of hard for one person, 1.5 person to do all that. So I understand
You
your
have
frustration.
Tracy helping you also. She's working almost full-time for you too.
Oh, she is?
Yes,
I haven't seen her working full-time for me.
I have.
Moving
Well,
forward.
So this
there's a
board-
question on the,
She's
there's a
had-
question on the
Tracy
table.
hasn't-
Can we vote, please?
Thought we were moving on.
Can we vote, please?
Yes. No further discussion?
Well, I am going to say one thing, sorry, I asked for them, but in regards to fire inspections and whether or not they can be done by 3 part-time guys, and whether or not the person that's becoming the fire inspector per se, that's going to open another hole, and we're going to have to replace that firefighter. So just understand, we have to replace that firefighter that now pulls off the street. Thank you. I'm ready, let's vote.
We did. We hired 2, so now we have 11, right? Tom?
Right.
Yes, but he's going to move forward, move off the fleet. Let's go.
You're right. So if there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion to authorize the Board of Trustees to reverse the decision made at the September 19th, 2022 regular board meeting where they hired 1 full-time rental inspector.
The 26th is a special.
Yeah, the 26, we're redoing the action that was taken at the September 26th meeting because it wasn't posted for
Properly.
public.
Right. 26th, right?
But
is
the
date.
action was taken on the 19th?
Yeah.
Right.
So the 26th is just out of it.
Okay, so
It's a
we're going
part
with
of the
19th.
conversation, or the resolution as to what happened on the 26th, and so but the action was, initial action was on the 19th. Support. You made the motion, right?
No,
Oh, what did you
I
do?
called for the roll call. We
You
had
made the
You
motion.
made the motion.
Oh, okay.
And
I second.
Deb
Deb
Campbell
did.
supported it. I know, it's been a long meeting.
Yeah, trustee Vert. Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee
Wait,
Fabdo?
she didn't
Did
say
you,
anything.
did you vote?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
So I'm going to say, I want to be clear that I'm going to say no, because I'm not in support of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So no.
Okay, let me start over. Trustee Vert.
No.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Fabdo?
Yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Miller?
No.
Trustee Klee?
No.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
And Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you.
So is that 4 votes yes? That motion passes. Our announcements, our next meeting is November 21st at 6 PM. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call this meeting adjourned.